All right, strap in, everyone, because this time on the deep dive, we're going to plunge headfirst into the hero of ages,
Oh, yeah.
the grand finale of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy.
This is it.
Yeah, so if you haven't read it yet, um, maybe pause, turn back, the drill.
Miller's bound.
We're diving deep
Absolutely.
into all the juicy details, the
Yeah.
epic battles, the magic, the whole shebang.
The fate of the world hanging in the balance.
Exactly. And speaking of high stakes, last time we left off, Vin and Elend were hunting for those atium caches, right?
Right, those hidden stashes of the Lord Ruler's power.
And they thought those caches were going to, solve all their problems or at least give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, they thought it was just a matter of mopping up the leftovers, right?
Right. But here's the twist.
Oh, man.
It's not just leftover problems you're dealing with this time.
No, not at
There's this whole new threat, this force of destruction, literally called ruin, working against them.
And I mean, working against everyone, really.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just like earthquakes and ash falls, although there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
This thing is like insidious.
Oh, yeah, it gets in your head.
Exactly. It's influencing people, twisting events, even messing with the way their society works.
Like a puppet master, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. Like imagine a cosmic horror story, but it's also a high fantasy epic.
Mind blown.
Right.
Okay, but back to Vin and Elend. They're still searching for those atium caches.
Oh, yeah, they're on a mission.
And they're convinced this atium is the key to stopping ruin.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Atium was the Lord Ruler's power, and he kept ruin at bay for centuries.
Yeah, good point.
So they're thinking, okay, atium equals power, power equals stopping ruin, problem solved.
Simple, right.
Oh, if only.
But as we know, things are never that simple with Sanderson.
Nope.
So where does this search for atium take them?
Oh, to some pretty crazy places, let me tell you.
Lay it on me.
We're talking treacherous landscapes, hidden fortresses, encounters with people who are just as desperate and lost as they are.
Sounds intense.
Oh.
And every cache they find is not just like, oh, here's some atium, problem solved.
No, each one brings new challenges, forces them to confront not just external threats, but their own inner demons, too.
Oh, so is this like a test of their character?
Exactly. It's a trial by fire, literally and figuratively.
And for their relationship too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're constantly making these impossible choices, questioning their beliefs, and trying to stay connected in the middle of all this chaos.
Yeah, it puts a lot of strain on them.
And it's not just Vin and Elend who are having a rough time.
Oh, no, not at all.
Remember Sazed, the keeper of histories?
Oh, yeah, the guy with all the metal mines and the infinite knowledge.
That's him. Well, let's just say he's not doing so hot.
No, he is not.
Like his whole worldview is shattered.
Yeah, he's having a full-blown existential crisis.
Poor Sazed. What happened?
Well, remember, he's devoted his life to knowledge, to understanding the world through history and religion.
Right. He's got like a library in his head.
Exactly. But now, with ruin on the loose, with everything falling apart, none of it makes sense anymore.
It's like his faith in everything, even knowledge itself, is gone.
Exactly. He's even starting to question Kelsier, the survivor.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he's wondering if their whole revolution was based on a lie.
That's heavy stuff.
It is, and it's weighing heavily on Sazed.
Okay, so we've got Vin and Elend on this desperate quest, Sazed questioning everything he thought he knew.
Right, and then there's Spook.
Oh yeah, Spook. What's he up to?
Well, remember that timid kid from the first book? The one who was always in Kelsier's shadow?
Yeah, kind of shy, right?
Exactly. Well, he's gone through a radical transformation.
Oh, Phil's the T.
He's become this powerful figure in Urto, leading the resistance with enhanced senses and abilities that are practically superhuman.
Whoa, hold on. Enhanced senses. Superhuman abilities. What's going on there?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. And a little bit disturbing.
You tell.
Our sources suggest that Spook's powers aren't entirely natural.
Wait, you're saying someone's messing with him?
It seems that way.
But who? And why?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But there are some hints that ruin might be involved, that Spook is being manipulated, used for some dark purpose.
Hold up. So ruin isn't just causing earthquakes and messing with people's minds. It's also giving people powers.
It seems that way, yeah. And it's a chilling thought, right?
Absolutely. It's like even the good guys aren't safe from ruin's influence.
Exactly. And it makes you question everything, right? Who can you trust? What's real and what's manipulation?
Talk about a mind trip.
Right. And it gets even crazier when you consider this next revelation.
Okay, hit me with it.
Remember the prophecy everyone's been talking about? The one that foretold the hero of ages?
Yeah, the whole reason for this book, right?
Right. Well, guess what? it's been tampered with.
Wiki. Nope. Doop.
Ruin has been subtly altering events for centuries, making sure the prophecy would lead to its own return.
Wait, so this whole time, Ruin's been playing the long game.
Oh yeah, this is a masterclass in manipulation.
So the prophecy, the hero of ages, it's all part of Ruin's plan.
It seems that way.
Okay, but how does it all tie together? Like, what's Ruin's endgame here?
Well, that's what Vin and Elend are trying to figure out.
Yeah, because they're still on the hunt for that atium, right?
Oh yeah, they're still chasing those caches, thinking they hold the key to stopping Ruin.
But what if they're wrong?
What if they're walking right into a trap?
Oh man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
And we haven't even talked about Lord Yeoman yet.
Oh yeah, the guy in Fadric City.
Yeah.
He's still a diehard believer in the Lord Ruler, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's convinced the Lord Ruler will return, and he sees Elend as a heretic who destroyed their god.
So he's not exactly rolling out the welcome mat for Vin and Elend.
Not a chance. He refuses to cooperate, even when a frickin' Inquisitor shows up.
An Inquisitor. Talk about bad timing.
Right. And this is where things get really intense for Vin. She discovers a horrifying truth about adamantium.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. What is it?
It's not just a metal. It's not just a source of power. It's actually concentrated ruin.
No way. So all this time, Vin and Elend have been chasing after the very thing that could destroy them.
Exactly. It's a devastating realization, and it forces Vin to confront the possibility of making the ultimate sacrifice to save the world.
Oh man, talk about pressure. And meanwhile, what's Elend doing while all this is going down?
He's facing his own impossible choices as emperor. He's trying to hold the empire together, protect his people, and stay true to his ideals, but it's a losing battle. He's starting to see the echoes of the Lord Ruler in his own actions, the temptation to use power to control and dominate.
So he's basically having a leadership meltdown.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He even asks Vin to kill him if he becomes too much like the Lord Ruler, which is just heartbreaking.
Wow, that's heavy. Sounds like things are about to get even more intense.
Oh, they definitely are. But we'll have to save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks, because the fate of the world is hanging in the balance.
So we left off with Elend about to try some atium, right, to see if he's maybe a Mistborn himself.
Yeah, huge cliffhanger.
And he does. He actually takes the plunge.
That happens.
Boom! The world explodes for him.
Whoa, literally.
Not literally, no, but it's like suddenly he's seeing things differently, feeling things more intensely. And yeah, he can burn Peter. He's got the strength, the speed. It's like a superhero origin story, you know?
But with less spandex.
Way less spandex and a lot more existential dread.
Right, because this is the power he spent his whole life fighting against.
Exactly. And all this while, Vin is stuck in Fadric City with Lord Yeoman, who's still totally clueless.
Yeah, the guy's stuck in his own little world, convinced the Lord Ruler's coming back.
And then there's Marsh, the Inquisitor, immune to allomancy, just waiting to make a move.
Classic Sanderson, just piling on the tension.
Oh yeah, he's a master at that.
So you've got Vin, desperate to stop Ruin, but she can't do anything against Marsh.
And Yeoman's no help. He's blind to the real threat. Plus, Elend's off trying to control his new powers while racing against time to save the world.
It's like everyone's about to crash and burn.
Pretty much, but Vin, she doesn't give up.
What does she do?
She burns her last bit of atium, not to fight Marsh directly, but to try and understand him.
To understand a hemalurgic monster?
She wants to see if there's any humanity left in him, any weakness she can exploit.
Wow, that's risky.
Super risky, but it pays off, at least for a moment.
What happens?
She connects with Marsh, feels a flicker of his old self, the man he was before the spikes.
So there's hope.
Just a sliver, but then, bam, Elend arrives.
The Mistborn warrior.
All out, burning iridium, fighting like a man possessed.
How does Marsh react?
He's taken aback, but he's still a tough opponent.
Can Elend beat him?
He's trying, but it's clear the atium is taking its toll.
It's changing him.
Yeah, his body's warping, his mind's on edge.
He's becoming more like the Lord Ruler.
He sees it too, the allure of power, the temptation to give in.
But he doesn't, does he?
No, he fights it.
He remembers Vin, the world he's trying to save.
Exactly, and that's what sets him apart from the Lord Ruler.
He chooses love over power, sacrifice over tyranny.
And it's a hell of a sacrifice.
What does he do?
He burns the last of his atium, a massive explosion, takes out the Colossus, cripples Marsh, even weakens Ruin itself.
But it kills him.
Yeah, he dies in Vin's arms.
Man, that's got to be rough.
Devastating, but his sacrifice changes Vin.
How so?
She sees the depth of his love, his selflessness, and it transforms her.
She's not just a Mistborn anymore.
She's something more, the embodiment of hope, the last defense against ruin.
But Ruin's still out there, stronger than ever.
Oh yeah, the world's falling apart, and she's all alone.
What can she do?
She turns her grief, her rage, her love into pure creation, a force to oppose Ruin's destruction.
So it's not just a fight anymore, it's a clash of cosmic powers.
Exactly, and Vin, she's like a force of nature, reshaping landscapes, bending the elements to her will.
She's on a whole other level.
And eventually, she realizes there's only one way to win.
What's that?
She has to absorb Ruin, become one with it.
Merge with the very thing she's fighting.
It's the only way to stop it.
But it'll destroy her.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice of everything.
So she does it.
She does. Embraces Ruin, their powers fuse, consume each other.
And what happens?
The world is reborn, new and fragile,
Yeah.
but free from ruin.
It's a bittersweet victory.
Definitely full of loss, but with a glimmer of hope.
And Sazed, he's the one left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, the keeper of histories, now he has to guide humanity towards a better future.
But before we get into that, I gotta say, Sanderson's vision is incredible.
Oh yeah, he's not just telling a story, he's exploring the nature of power, the weight of choice, the enduring strength of love and sacrifice.
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading.
Absolutely, and it makes you think, what if Vin had survived? What would the world have been like?
Man, I don't even know.
It's a question without an easy answer, but it's a kind of question great stories leave you with.
And while we're left wondering about Vin, Sazed is facing the reality of rebuilding a shattered world.
Yeah, he's lost so much. His friends, his mentors, even his faith.
But he still has to keep going.
He does, and he draws on all his knowledge, all the wisdom he's accumulated over the centuries.
He has to become a leader.
A guide for a lost people.
And he cleanses the ash, brings back the sun, starts the long process of rebuilding.
And what's amazing is he doesn't try to force his beliefs on anyone.
He encourages people to find their own way.
To question, explore, discover their own truth.
That's a powerful message, especially in a world so divided.
It is, and Sazed, he becomes a symbol of hope, of unity.
A reminder that even in darkness, there's always potential for growth.
And if we look at the bigger picture, Hero of Ages isn't just about the end of an empire.
It's about the human spirit, the power of choice, the legacy of love and sacrifice.
It's a challenge to confront our beliefs, to question our assumptions, to find hope even when things seem impossible.
And it makes you think about the choices we make, the sacrifices we're willing to make, the world we want to leave behind.
So as you keep exploring Sanderson's Cosmere, remember the lessons of Hero of Ages?
The courage of Vin, the sacrifice of Elend, the wisdom of Sazed.
Their story isn't just fantasy, it's a reflection of ourselves, our struggles, our hopes.
And it's a reminder that stories have the power to change the world.
Absolutely, and that's what makes them so important.
Well, that was quite a journey, huh?
It was, full of twists and turns, but ultimately, a hopeful one.
I think that's what makes Sanderson's work so compelling. Even when things get dark, there's always that glimmer of light.
That belief in the power of good to overcome even the greatest challenges.
And that's a message we can all get behind.
I think so too.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Hero of Ages.
It was a pleasure to explore this epic tale with you.
We hope you enjoyed uncovering the secrets, pondering the big questions, and maybe even shedding a tear or two along the way.
It's a story that stays with you.
And we hope it inspires you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep believing in the power of stories.
Because stories have the power to change us.
And to change the world.
Until next time, keep the magic alive.
And may your deep dives be ever rewarding. It really makes you think, you know, what if Vin could have pulled it off? What if she had survived merging with Ruin?
Yeah, like, could she have actually reshaped the world? Would it have been this utopia, or would it have, I don't know, backfired somehow?
Right. Like too much power, even for someone like Vin.
Exactly. It's like Sanderson leaves us with this lingering question, this what if, and there's no easy answer.
Which is, I think, what makes it so good, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just tied up in a neat little bow.
It makes you really think about the implications, and that's what great stories do, right?
Yeah, they stick with you.
Yeah.
So we're left with these big questions about Vin, but Sazed, he's got the very real problem of actually rebuilding this world.
Right, and he's starting from, like, zero, you know? He's lost everyone, everything he believed in.
His whole world is gone.
Yeah, and I think what makes Sazed's story so interesting is he's not your typical hero, you know?
No, he's not some muscle-bound warrior or a chosen one with a magic sword.
He's a scholar, a bookworm, a guy who loves knowledge more than anything.
But now knowledge isn't enough.
It's not, he has to actually do something, lead, guide, be something he never thought he'd be.
And he does it, doesn't he? Cleanses the ash, brings back the sun, starts rebuilding.
It's a long road, though.
Oh, for sure. Centuries of work ahead.
But Sazed, he doesn't try to force anything on anyone, you know?
Like no new religion, no Sazed is the one true prophet kind of thing.
Exactly. He's like, hey, figure it out for yourselves. Question things. Find your own truth.
Which is like the opposite of what the Lord Ruler did.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sazed is all about freedom, choice, individual understanding.
In a way, he's kind of like the anti-Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
Right? Breaking down that old system, that rigid way of thinking.
Yeah, he's like a symbol of something new, something better.
Hope? Maybe. After all that darkness and destruction, he represents hope.
I think so, yeah. And it's not just about rebuilding the world. It's about rebuilding, like, the human spirit, you know?
Coming back from the brink, finding a way to move forward together.
And if we take a step back, look at the whole picture. Hero of Ages. It's not just about ending an empire or defeating a god.
It's about us.
Yeah.
About what it means to be human, the choices we make, the things we're willing to sacrifice for.
It's about love, about loss, about finding hope in the face of overwhelming odds.
It's a story that makes you question everything, but also believe in something bigger than yourself.
And that's why it resonates, why it stays with you.
So, for all you Cosmere fans out there, keep those lessons in mind.
Remember Vin, Elend, Sazed? Their stories are more than just fantasy.
They're reflections of our own potential for good and bad.
They're reminders to keep fighting, keep hoping, keep believing in the power of stories.
Because stories, they can change us.
They can change the world.
That's it for this deep dive into the Hero of Ages, folks.
Thanks for joining us on this epic journey.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
It was a wild one.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning,
Keep the magic alive.
and may your deep dives be ever rewarding.